Hey, so I totally forgot to film an intro into this video. I'm actually on the way to go get some materials for an upcoming video. It'll be a bedroom makeover. But in this video, I'm going to show you a quick little refresh that I did to my dining room. It's fairly simple. It took me a little bit longer to do, but it's done now. It looks pretty cool. So if that interests you, stay tuned. I also just realized I've had this in my mouth all day. But who cares? We've been wearing masks, so it doesn't even matter. Enjoy the video. So this is what the room looked like before I started moving things around. You can kind of see there's clutter randomly throughout the space, and there's not really a focus anywhere. So I think I want to achieve that by potentially making a really large canvas. So those are the two things that I really want to address. To achieve this large canvas, I'm going to be joining 2x4s of various lengths with really simple building techniques to then cover it with the large canvas fabric, and I'll show you how. You can see here I'm working with all of the 2x4s that I've already cut down to size. I'm simply joining them at the end with the brad nail gun, and then I'm drilling some holes and reinforcing them with screws. I'm also adding a support brace in the middle so that the canvas isn't really wobbly, but this is all fairly simple. It's not that complicated once you have your measurements. Once the structure is all made, I could then begin stretching the canvas over it. Now, I know that this may look like a daunting task, but once you actually break it down in really simple steps, it is actually pretty simple to do. I'm building two separate frames that I will then join together afterwards. I don't want this canvas to be wobbly, so I'm making sure that the middle of the frame is really supported, and I'm just reinforcing it with lots of screws. I'll leave you with this montage of me stretching this canvas over this frame.
Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
This is my first time stretching my own canvas, and the way that I folded things over on the corners could be a little bit neater, but this will never really be seen. It'll be against the wall, so I'm not really bothered by that. Once the canvas was completed, we started moving around all the furniture that we had in our spaces. Now I took some furniture that I had in our living room and I now put it in our dining room. We played around a lot with the layout just because we weren't sure of how we wanted things to look. That is one tip that I would give to someone who is looking to do something like this. It's just take an inventory of the furniture that you currently have and then maybe try it out in different locations. You never know, you might come up with a really cool layout that you hadn't even really thought about. Once the furniture was in place, I still felt that the canvas did not look finished. So we went down to Lowe's and I picked up a couple 2x6, I believe. Yeah, 2x6. And I decided that I was gonna finish out the canvas by making a wooden frame all around it. If you want to keep up what I'm doing, I usually post all of my projects on Instagram before I make videos about them. I post fun decor content, a lot of dog content, so if that interests you, follow me over there. I'm so glad that I added this wooden frame all around the canvas. It definitely completes it, and it actually makes the canvas look finished. I can't get over the miter corners. That is one of my favorite things on here. While we were putting this frame together, we were watching the AFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Bills, so that's why my mom is wearing her jersey. The Chiefs went on to the Super Bowl, but sadly they lost. But hey, they're my home team. I have to support them. Let me remind you what it used to look like before I started any of this. And now this is what it looks like. I'm very happy with the results, and I think we're definitely going to use the space a lot more than we have in the past. Okay guys, so this is the area that stemmed this whole little refresh. Before, I just wasn't happy with the setup. I don't think it was interesting when you walked in, whereas now you have like a focal point right when you walk in. There's some visual interest. I'm really happy with this, and I'm glad that I made this canvas myself. I was looking at potentially purchasing something this size, and no sis, it was gonna be really expensive. So I'm super glad that I was able to just DIY it, and I'm still not even sure if I want to paint it or just leave it like it's like this natural like linen texture. But I know that this is way better of a setup than it was before. But for this area, I really like the chair. I was iffy about it. I went back and forth as to replace it or keep it, but I think I'm gonna keep it for now. And then this lamp, I eventually want to change out because I'm kind of transitioning out of mid-century modern. As you can see, like that's kind of mid-century, maybe that's a little mid-century, and the lamp for sure is mid-century. And I want to transition out of that style and go for a more modern contemporary look. For the window over here, I'm also leaving this on pause because I don't know what I want to do. I don't know if I want to put a bench so that the dogs can peer out, but for now the plants will live there. One of the other major changes was moving this credenza over. Oh, you can totally see our messy kitchen, whatever. Moving this credenza over, we needed a place to house all these new safety precautionary things that we need to have on hand, like masks and wipes, readily available right by the door. So this made sense. Before, having the mirror was nice, but I really like having the circle mirror. I think it's much more effective here than it was over there, so I'm really liking it here. As for the table, I know eventually I want to replace this table. It's, I think at this point, maybe 3 years old. It's starting to show wear and tear. Plus, this is also, I don't know, like a cheapy table from, I forget, I think it was from Hay Needle, but like it came in damaged when we originally bought it. So like that's always been there. Like there's some damage here. I really want to just replace it with something else. I'm still really in love with the chairs. I think the chairs are good. As you can see here, we need a bigger space. Like it doesn't feel that comfortable right now. So like usually if we're having dinner as a family, one will sit here, one will sit there, and then the other two will sit at the opposite ends, because it's just not comfortable sitting that close to somebody. One of the other things that I need to tackle is this wall. So originally I did these giant swatches because I was thinking I was going to paint this room like a light neutrally pink. That didn't, no, that was a really dumb idea. So I just left these swatches up, and I mean for the longest time they've worked. Like they look really cool right when you walk in, but I just don't think that that's the vibe anymore. I for sure need to paint all this white, but that'll be like a project that I do later on. What I really wanted to do with this refresh was just give this whole room like a new feel, move into a different aesthetic. and just clean everything up. Eventually, I mean, there's still projects that I want to do here, but I think this feels good for now. As you can see, probably this next area will have to get tackled because it's not working. It's always like the coats just get piled up on there. That's a whole other project. And I stayed pretty under budget. The main things that I really just bought for the space was this. Everything else I had here. I didn't have to buy anything else. Those are the only two things that I bought for this little, I don't want to call it a makeover just because it wasn't, this is not that drastic of a change. So just a little refresh. Okay, so I think I was pretty successful with this little refresh. I think a lot of people and myself, whenever I think of like redoing a space or anything, giving it a makeover or anything like that, I build it up so much in my head where like it has to be this grand thing, like an extreme makeover. But I think this is like realistic for most people. Like I don't have the funds to like completely flip this entire room. So doing little things like this makes me happy just because I'm saving money, but I'm also reusing a lot of the things that I currently have. So doing little things here and there is a much more sustainable way of doing it. But if you're looking to do something like this, I suggest maybe starting off with a mood board. That way you have like a guideline of things that you should be on the lookout whenever you go to like the thrift store. If you like are at Target and you see something on sale, like your mood board will be the thing that grounds your space. It'll help you buy things and group things together that actually are cohesive. Sorry, my arm is dying. So starting off with the mood board will give you a big picture, the feel and the aesthetic of the room. And having a mood board, it's a guideline. It'll assist you whenever you're making decisions about either what kind of paint color you should do, what kind of furniture would fit the space. Take an inventory of all the furniture that you have in your home, and then maybe playing around with like the layouts of it. You never know, you could come out with something really cool. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't overwhelm yourself whenever you're trying to redo a space. If you have to take it little by little, hey, that's realistic for most of us. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do like this huge HDTV makeover. Like that's not realistic for most people. If you like what I'm doing here, I'm gonna be posting more home decor content. My next video will be a bedroom makeover, so I'm currently working through that, and that'll be, I think I'm gonna do it in parts just because again, I'm a normal person and don't have all this money to just completely make over my bedroom, so that'll come in parts. I'm also thinking of maybe potentially making a video on how I make my mood boards. If you guys want like a walkthrough of like how I come to those, like how I like my thought process behind them, I can definitely do a video about that. So just let me know down below if that's something that interests you. But for the time being, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Follow me on Instagram. I update more regularly there. I'm still trying to get the hang of all this YouTube stuff, so bear with me. But like I said, comment down below what other videos you'd like to see. But for the meantime, have a great day and thanks for watching.